First came the panic of '08, then the collapse of '09. While both events sent shockwaves around the world, trends forecaster Gerald Celente predicted the calamities well in advance. And with a new year upon us, Celente says buckle down and brace yourself for a shattering 2010.
We look at 2010 as a breaking point. We mentioned that we had predicted the panic of '08 and the collapse of '09, and people would say, well, it didn't collapse in '09. It did. It collapsed in March of 2009. The world equity markets crumbled. What happened was they propped it up worldwide with stimulus money, with bailouts. From China to the UK, from the USA to Australia, Europe, you name it, everybody, every central bank has been dumping trillions of dollars into the system to prop it back up from the collapse. We believe that in 2010, the collapse is going to hit the ground. It didn't make it all the way down because of the props. So we see the financial stimulus running out, reality setting in, and the worst yet to come.
If this breaking point does, in fact, take place in the year to come, let's talk about some of the consequences. Survivalism, you say, will go mainstream. What does that mean?
Well, it means that you had a number of survival movements in the past when things get tough. In the States, the guys pick up their AK-47s, head toward the hills with enough provisions and pork and beans to ride out a storm. This is a very different survivalism. This is either make it or break it. It means growing your own food, ripping up those lawns that are growing useless grass. And it may also mean arming yourself if things get very dangerous, as we believe they're going to. Gang membership is probably one of the biggest growth industries in the United States. The politicians could say all they want about how they're going to get tough on crime. Just look at Mexico, look at other places where it starts to break down. So survivalism begins to happen at a number of different levels. From the essentials, having enough to eat, enough food, enough fuel, getting off the grid, and technology is now making that possible.
You do believe that there will be an increase of terror attacks to take place, and you say that as a result of the U.S.'s ongoing wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and you say also now getting involved in Pakistan, in Yemen. How bad do you think these events will be?
When 9/11 happened, what was the reasoning that they gave why America was attacked? President Bush said, because they hate our freedom and liberty. How about they hate your foreign policy? You can't go into other countries, occupy them, create a hellish situation, wage warfare, send in predator drones, and not expect people to want to extract revenge. And now what's happened in Pakistan is most significant, and here's why. The United States has expanded the war in Pakistan to levels whereby in the Swat Valley in South Waziristan, it created one of the greatest refugee crises since Rwanda in 1994. Homes destroyed, villages leveled, people killed, and now they're sending in these predator drones, always knocking out, quote, suspected terrorists. Well, what if they didn't hit suspected terrorists and got unsuspecting civilians? Now, let's suppose you're a Pakistani, and there are over 300,000 of them living in the U.S., and your family was wiped out. Your neighborhood was destroyed. Your relatives were killed. You think you want to get even? And these are the days when you don't need an organized group like Al-Qaeda. You don't need a bin Laden. You have lone wolf terrorists. And you have a world awash with weapons of mass destruction. Anybody could be a terrorist, and we're seeing it more and more. So the United States is fertilizing the foundation for more terrorism.
Do you foresee something where it's independent? You know, one person walking into a business, one person walking into a subway station?
It could be anything. It could be an organized group of terrorists or a lone wolf terrorist. It could be one person with with biological warfare that's enough to destroy a small city or poison a water supply. Or it could be a major attack, a major planned military attack. And there's another wild card thrown into the deck. A major editorial recently in the New York Times about doing a surgical strike against Iran's nuclear facility. There's no such thing as a surgical strike. That's a lot of baloney that they use to make it sound as though, oh, nobody got hurt and we just did what we had to do and everything was clean and nice. It doesn't work like that. If there's a strike against Iran, it's the beginning of World War III. And by the way, the war talk comes from the cowards who never fought in war most of the time. When you look at who the so-called commanders-in-chief are, they've never gotten bloody. Anybody that wants to talk about war, saddle up, bring your wife, your kids, your family, go lead the troops and show us how it's done, or shut your mouth.
Will there be a backlash, blowback against the government, against President Obama in particular?
It's very difficult to say whether the people there will be blowback against President Obama as conditions deteriorate, because if there's a terrorist level put on top of that, and they manipulate it with the kind of propaganda that they used under the Bush years, they rally the people around them. So you go back to the post-9/11 days, President Bush told the people that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda, and rallied the nation around them, even though those were bogus reasons. But the nation nonetheless rallied around him. So the same kind of thing could happen if there's a terrorist strike and they give other bogus reasons or real reasons, whatever. But the people tend to rally around their president, whether it's in the U.S. or any other country, when these kind of things happen.
I know you spoke a little bit or wrote a little bit about an anti-immigration movement that you think will start in 2010. Can you tell me some of the social consequences you think will take place?
Immigration is going to be a major issue in every major country, for a long time to come. So as people start losing jobs, as economies start declining, you're going to see, and as terrorism increases, and by the way, it's not only in the U.S., it's every NATO country is a target for terror. If you want to go into another country and tell them how to live and what to do and how to do it, and you think you're better than they are, guess what? You're a target.
In 2010, here in the United States, we're going to see midterm elections take place. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the Democrats are going to lose their congressional power?
It doesn't make any difference. They shuffle one to the other. It's a two-headed one-party system. I'm a political atheist. I don't believe in this nonsense. So, yeah, the people will feel as though we have to throw out the Democrats if things get very tough. But what are they going to do? Bring back the people that are part and parcel to creating the problems in the first place? They're all complicit. A new third party is going to be formed, we forecast, in time for the 2012 presidential elections. Again, a revolution is an evolutionary process. And these things don't happen clear-cut or smooth.
You also predict something of an internet revolution progressing in 2010. You've already stated in your journal that the internet revolution has basically taken down newspapers, and the next casualty might be TV news.
Well, the networks, the American networks are just producing, many of them are producing just garbage news. And they feed off the corpse of Michael Jackson for over a month. They know every detail about Tiger Woods. How few of them are reporting on the U.S. sanctioned airstrikes and intelligence going into Yemen that are more important, or any other major issue. The mentality in much of the media is, this is what the people want. That's always their fallback position. Maybe it's what they want. Maybe that's how far their minds could go. Maybe the people that they talk to like this kind of garbage. But there's a whole other people out there. There are people of high intellect that are caring people that want more than just junk. They want quality. Now here's where the big change takes place. Now, with the technology, all you do is you plug in a wire into your new TV set and into your computer, and you take everything off that small screen and you put it now on the wide screen. We see startup networks based internet that are going to be taking huge chunks of business from the big broadcasters. It's all about content, and they have proven over and over again that they're content ignorant, or else they wouldn't produce the kind of garbage that they are. And now with the cost of equipment going down, the quality going up, and free access, as long as there's net neutrality, as long as there's equal access, the network's day is going the way of the Chicago Tribune that went bankrupt, because now the playing field is level and it's not being controlled by a small amount with a limited mind.
Gerald Celente, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you so much for sitting down to speak with me.
Thank you.